What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We're back talking about the quarterfinals for the Rugby World Cup. We've already done a bunch of the preview videos for all the other games. We're on to the final one, England versus Fiji. So if you haven't checked those ones out, you can go check them out after this one. Now, this one technically isn't the last quarterfinal. It's just the last one we're doing a video on because we've waited longer for the teams to be announced. This is technically the third quarterfinal going in on Sunday. And while a lot of those other games that we've talked about are the teams are carrying full momentum into the quarterfinals, a lot of the games are 50-50, toss of a coin who's going to end up winning them, what have you. This one's a little bit different. England and Fiji both coming into this weekend with not a great deal of momentum, to be honest. We had England barely squeak past Samoa, and I think it's full fairness to say maybe got a little bit lucky. There was quite a few disallowed tries throughout that game, and maybe Samoa could have looked to have taken that game. And then you've got Fiji, who lost to Portugal by that 1 point game right at the end. So both of these teams a bit down at the minute, and will be needing a big uplift in this game to try and cement them, because one of them's going on to the semi-finals, and probably against a monster team. So you need to be improving a lot of stuff in this game to be able to stand any sort of chance when you get into the semi-finals. Of course, we're going to check out the teams that have been announced on both sides. Have a run through the teams, give some thoughts on some of the action areas and the teams themselves as well. Of course, we'll give a score prediction at the end. Probably be wrong, normally always is. Of course, if you enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest videos all the way through to the final, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. It's free, it's easy. You can unsubscribe later if you want to. Why would you want to? The content's amazing. Right, moving on to the England team then. Not a great deal of changes, which did surprise me, because a lot of people struggled last week. Some players did pretty well. We'll have a run through. So starting out in the front row, same front row as last week. Ellis Genge, Jamie George, Dan Cole. Ellis Genge was getting himself all up close and personal with a couple of the Samoan players, having a chat to them, about their types of shoelaces and stuff. Starting off some little fiery competitions going on. The scrummaging in this game is going to be really interesting because Fiji have only lost one scrum across the tournament so far. That was against Portugal. That was last week. They've only lost one of their own scrums. So the scrummaging is going to be an enormous area for England to focus on in this game, because if Fiji get the upper hand in that scrum, England are really going to struggle, because so much of the England attack is set piece orientated and launching. So we're going to have to keep a real close eye on how this front row gets on. In the lock department, Maro Itoje and Ollie Chesham going. Ollie Chesham actually had a good game against Samoa. Probably one of the few that really stood out to me in that game. Got over for one try, had a second try disallowed, but could have been two tries, so it would have been absolutely awesome. Now the line out is an area, and I keep saying it when we talk about Fiji, it doesn't feel like anyone's taking advantage of it. It's almost like the World Rugby coaches don't watch my videos. What are they doing? But the line-out situation for Fiji is, for me, a weak link area. It's something that can be exploited. England have solid players when it comes to the line-out. Maro Itoje, Ollie Chesham, Courtney Laws will all get in the air and look to disrupt in this one. I think England will be looking to try and kick this ball off the field as much as possible. Get to that set piece, get involved in that line out, start stealing line out so you can kick it, up the field, try and get a 50-22. If it doesn't go your way, you've got solid jumpers in the air to try and steal that ball back for you and put Fiji under real pressure. I can see England wanting to play a territory game and try and keep within those set pieces again. The driving maul may struggle because the Fijian maul's actually been looking pretty decent. So I'm not sure how the England maul will get on. It's something that they do like to go through and have Jamie George try and trundle over. The England maul hasn't necessarily looked as good as it's been. The actual the sort of second team they had with Bevan Rod and Theo Dan actually kind of looked better from what I've seen from this England team over the course of the tournament. But I think the line out, some area that England potentially could look to exploit in this game. And then in that back row, Courtney Laws, Tom Curry and Ben Earl looking to do some big carries, get involved again. The defence last week against Samoa, there was a few missed tackles going on, a few players squeaking through, but it was more out on the wings. The forwards were holding up relatively well. I'm not going to lie to you, I was watching the game with a group of friends and stuff, so I wasn't necessarily as focused as I could have been on the England game. But it is a solid back row. It's the back row you'd most likely expect from this England team, right? Maybe some people would want to see Billy Vunipola there, but to me, Ben Earl has just been standing out. You've got to have Ben Earl in this starting team, and if Tom Curry's fit and healthy and going to be at the top of his game, you kind of want to have them both on at the same time, right? In the halfback partnership, Alex Mitchell goes in alongside Owen Farrell. Oh boy, a lot of talking points around this. Alex Mitchell, for me, is not doing what I expected Alex Mitchell to do. There was so much hype about that he's this, flamboyant, extravagant scrum half. He's going to run with the ball. He's going to run sideways. He's going to do inside pass. He's going to go ballistic. he's been pretty slow. He's just been sort of methodical. Oh, here's this pass to this one player. I haven't seen that spark from him. And it's a real shame. I'm not sure if that's him not living up to the performances or my own expectations of him, or if that's Borthwick saying, we've got a way we play, we're not doing it your way, we're going to do it our way. I would prefer to see Alex Mitchell be a bit more aggressive, a bit more, sort of like Cobus Reinach or someone is doing in South Africa, looking for the ball, looking to go yourself, cause some issues, make the other team's defenders worry about you a bit more. At the minute, I don't really feel like Alex Mitchell is any sort of threat, and he absolutely has the ability to be. Owen Farrell, hot take for this video maybe, I think England are better without Owen Farrell. I think since Owen Farrell has come back, England have got worse. George Ford was playing 10 really well, and I liked his organisation. Marcus Smith, been doing fine at fullback. Playing the two centres, I think gives them a better chance at this game. I just wouldn't have Owen Farrell there. It seems wild. He's, the all-time top point scorer for England now. He's the captain of the team. I think they've been doing better. He missed a kick. He lost the shot clock, right, against Samoa. He nearly lost 2 of them. So, man, there's so many little issues coming in that I don't think George Ford has. I think George Ford is better. I would have played George Ford for this game, and maybe you'd have Owen Farrell on the bench for centre/fly half coverage. Maybe you'd have done that. But to me, let me know what you think down in the comment section. I know we have a bunch of English subscribers on the channel as well. You can let me know if you think I'm wrong. That's cool, whatever. We all have a different opinion, right? In the centre partnership, Manu Tuilagi goes in alongside Joe Marchant. I do like this. I've still kind of wanted to see Ollie Lawrence and Tuilagi, play alongside a little bit more, but I think it's probably a better opportunity to have Tuilagi for your big carries and Marchant for your, playing that 13 shirt. It's a little bit more in line with, what Ireland do with Aki and Ringrose. One of them's looking to go around, one of them's looking to go straight through the middle, and then you bring on Ollie Lawrence later on. I still think it probably works better for them. I do personally want to see a bit more of Tuilagi and Ollie Lawrence just for we're going to run you over sort of deal. And then in the back three, Elliot Daly on the left wing, Johnny May on the right wing, and Marcus Smith going in at fullback. Now, a lot of people might be scratching their heads thinking, no Freddie Stewart for this game. But I kind of think this is a right call. Fiji are not a team that is kicking. They're not kicking over the top a lot. They're not kicking long. There's not a great deal of contestable balls. The Fijian players also, I don't really think are up there in terms of the one-on-one aerial competition. There's so many kicks that I've seen Fiji do where no one's jumping. They're almost waiting for the ball to bounce, or they're waiting for the other team to catch just to kill who's ever in front of them. That's sort of the Fijian style that it's been so far throughout this tournament. And if they're not going to do that, the things you bring Freddie Stewart in for aren't going to be available in this game. So I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world to lose Freddie Stewart for this game. The only thing that you might think about is, now knowing he's not there, do Fiji kick more? Because maybe you wouldn't kick to him because you know he's there. Now you know he's not there. Do you kick more to try and catch England off guard? The only downside I do see from this, though, is I think Freddie Stewart would be better under the high ball than probably almost any of the Fijian players from what I've seen so far. So in terms of your own attack, and going forwards, I would maybe like to have seen, some big up and unders, someone putting it back. If you had like George Ford, Owen Farrell, or Marcus Smith, any of them, do a sort of rotation where one of them runs back, does the up and under kick, and you have Freddie Stewart chase, because I think there would be good odds on him being able to catch most of those balls under the high ball compared to a Fijian opposition. So maybe England have actually lost a bit of a weapon going forwards, but from a defensive standpoint, I don't think it's the worst thing to lose. And Marcus Smith has actually been doing pretty well at fullback, considering the first time I saw him, I was like, I have no idea how he's going to get on. I actually think he's looked very good on the counter attack, running up to the attacking line as well and offloading players. I think he's been good. So you know what? Hey, this is looking like a more aggressive sort of setup for England necessarily than just having Freddie Stewart sat in that backfield waiting for those kicks. Maybe that'll work out for them. But like I said, that one change would be, I would have George Ford there, but Owen Farrell probably wouldn't even be looking at this team, to be honest. In terms of the bench then, Theo Dan, Joe Marler, Kyle Sinclair. We still don't feel like we've seen a great deal from Theo Dan. We've pretty much seen that one game from him. But Joe Marler and Kyle Sinclair later on, again, scrummaging. Important area for this game to take on Fiji. Rest of the replacement forwards, George Martin and Billy Vunipola to come on in that 8 shirt. Whether he comes on for, whatever they do, to be fair, they've got a bit of utility with this now, because of course he could come on for Courtney Laws and you just shift everyone around. You bring him on at 8 directly for Ben Earl. You bring him on at 8, so you move Ben Earl to 7, take Tom Kerr off. There's a bit of interchangeability there, which I do like. And then the replacement backs, Danny Kerr, George Ford and Ollie Lawrence. Danny Kerr, my God. what a game. What a game Danny Care had going on. If you want to make an impact from the bench, it's something we've spoken about on the channel quite a few times. Making the impact from the bench. You're not just there to carry on the game. You're meant to get into the game and change it. And Danny Care absolutely did that last week. Scored a try, which put England back in the game, and then stopped a definite try right at the end with an unbelievable tackle. So, you know, give praise where it's due. I think Danny Care had a great game when he came off from that bench, and arguably saved England from losing that one single-handedly by the end of that game. Thought he had a great game. George Ford on that bench. I think if Owen Farrell starts letting the clock shot go or whatever again, just get George Ford on, man. I'm not sure what they'll do. They might. I mean, they've got a centre on as well as Owen Farrell. There may be the opportunity they put George Ford on at 10, slide Owen Farrell back to 12, and then put him alongside Ollie Lawrence, and you just take Tuolagi and Marchand off at the same time. You've also got Elliot Daly, who could play outside centre as well. You could shift up a lot in this team. The back row's actually got quite nice interchangeability, but I still think there's some linchpin issues there. I don't think Owen Farrell was necessarily the right call for this one, and I want to see Alex Mitchell step up. I want to see him do a little bit better in this team. In terms of Fiji, then Fiji making some changes across the board. They lost that game to Portugal, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. Portugal just played out of their skin for that one, and Fiji had a lot of issues, just a lot of things not going their way. Handling was a concern. Opportunities to score going awry for them. I don't know if it was maybe a bit of an overconfidence thing. Maybe we saw with like Wales, Georgia last year, where you just sort of assume by the end of the game you're going to win, and therefore you don't need to chase it as hard, and maybe it comes back to bite you. Maybe it was sort of similar in line with that. I think it was a bit of both, with, you know, maybe Fiji not committing completely to that one, and Portugal having arguably their best game of the tournament throughout the World Cup so far. Going into this one, we've got a couple of changes. So in terms of this front row, Maui, Kanaveri, and Taggy coming in the tight head position. So Matavesi's moved to the bench. As I already sort of mentioned about the line-out issues, one of the big issues as to why the Fijian line-out doesn't work is Matavesi's line-out throwing isn't great. Maybe they've seen this and thought England are just going to take this all day long. So Kanaveri coming into that hooker position, I think might be a more positive move. And then you let Matavesi come on a little bit later for maybe some more attacking style play as a hooker coming on. In the lock department, then Nasila Sila goes in alongside Tuisui this week. So actually getting the start. I don't feel like we've seen him start a great deal of games for this one. And then in the back row, Tagetake Valu goes in alongside of Botia and Mata. Again, two monster players who maybe didn't have the greatest game. Mata actually thought outperformed Botia last weekend, but Tagetake Valu coming in, who of course had such a good start to the tournament. I'm hoping that he gets back into that run and gets them back on the front foot. In the halfback partnership, no switches here. Lomani and Botitu go in together, who again as a fly half. Lomani's doing well at kicking. So, hey, you know what? That's a positive for Fiji. Again, it's another one of their issues, is just getting those kicks over the post. England will kick them. Maybe they won't actually. Owen Farrell's kicking, not necessarily the best in the world, but they should get those kicks over, because Owen Farrell should be, a top-tier international fly-off. Those kicks should be going over. Lomani needs to, make sure he's hanging in there, get those kicks over as well, just to make sure that scoreboard's ticking over. Don't let England run away from you. But Botitu came in, I thought, played well at fly half last week. Centre partnership of Tuisova and Naya Kalevu once again. Another hot take for this video. I'm going to get everyone hating me in this video. Naya Kalevu, I think, was a bit of a detriment to Fiji in that Portugal game. I was watching him just throughout the game. A lot of people had him in the fantasy, so I keep special eye out for certain players that I know other people have in the fantasy and stuff. There were so many times in that Portugal game where Naya Kalevu was running with the ball. There's a 3-on-2, a 2-on-2, and you think, you've got to give this pass here. And he constantly runs at a defender. And I don't know what that is, because he hasn't done that throughout the tournament. The last couple of games, Georgia and Portugal, just charging it at defenders rather than looking to the outside or trying to run around players. He's always taking it himself. I want to see him do a bit more selfless activity in this game. I want to see him shipping that ball wider, quicker, rather than closing down the space or maybe running diagonally and removing his own winger's space. Give the pass early and let these solid wingers that Fiji have. It's one of their best attributes as the Fiji back. You've got to give them room to get up to speed and go for the big crashes and stuff. It's not much use running diagonally diagonally across the pitch while a defender's chasing you, and then if you give the pass at the last minute and let someone take it, or you just taking it in and force them to get over for the ruck. So 2 hot takes this video. There's always going to be something going on. And then finally in the back 3, Semi Radradra comes back in, Habosi on the right wing, and Droa Sisi in the fullback position. Now Radradra didn't play last week. I didn't actually do a preview video for the Fiji game last week. There's a lot of games to cover, and some of them I unfortunately missed. I didn't actually know what happened to him. I was surprised he wasn't in the team. Maybe he's not had the best tournament. It seems to always, unfortunately, be Semi Radradra who's not lived up to the expectations. Right, he had that drop ball in the final attack against Wales. He didn't necessarily have the best game in the second one either. Maybe they've asked him to take a step away from that and try out some different options. Semi Radradra is a solid player, right? I'm so glad to see him back in this team, back on that left wing as well. But I think one of the key things is Tuisova or Naiklevu needs to give the pass earlier rather than charging it themselves and trying to get over the line. Semi Radradra is him, Give him the ball. Don't just use him for rucks. Just trying to get over someone else. Give him the ball nice and early. In terms of the bench, then Madavesi, Ravai, and Oge go on the replacement front row. In terms of the backs, then Kuruvoli on the bench. Hopefully again take over that kicking. Massey and Makala. Now, Massey's a name that doesn't even stand out to me. I don't know if we've seen Massey. There's been a lot of games, guys. Give me a bit of slack. There's been a lot of games to cover, a lot of different names. I don't know if we've seen Massey as of yet. I've had to go and quickly look him up. Apparently, he did come on from the bench last week and played 19 minutes. To be honest, I was so focused on all sorts of different things with Portugal and stuff. I just let that one slip for me. So, some big players coming on from that bench in that second half, but man, I feel like this game is maybe stacked against Fiji a bit more than England, even though that might take a couple of people by surprise. Now, Fiji across the pools, I think, have performed to a better, higher extent, but have also fallen lower than England's low point. So I think England have been a bit more consistent, but Fiji have reached higher highs and lower lows. So going into this round is really interesting because of how you perceive this game to be going. If you're an England supporter, I was going to say, if you're an English boy, you might say England. To be honest, I've read a bunch of comments from different people saying, we're out, we're going to lose to Fiji. Maybe you don't think that. Drop it down in the comment section. If you're a Fijian supporter, I know the Fijian supporters are super passionate about Fiji, so I imagine they're calling Fiji all the way through this. It's who fixes their issues first, right? England were missing a few tackles last week, and the wingers were absolutely punishing England from Samoa. Fiji feel like they've got maybe easier things to fix, but they don't seem to be getting fixed. Like the amount of handling errors, little penalties. The scrum finally gave away a penalty against Portugal, which was not the team I expected it to go against. And England are up for a good scrum. I'm wondering who's going to be able to fix those issues first and who comes into this game. I think Fiji have the absolute capability of taking this game. If they keep the ball in their hands, they're just going to go on the charge. They get those passes. The handling issues don't let them down. I can see them just by brute force taking on England. Of course, we saw this game in the World Cup warm-ups, and Fiji won that one in Twickenham. So they've surely got to go into this one as favourites. I don't know on the cards, but England won their pool. I honestly don't know. Because in how 50-50 some of the other games are, I genuinely don't know. I think when we got to round 3 of the pool stages, I said Fiji are going to come second in this pool, and I think they're going to go on to beat England. And they've begun to drop off. England have arguably got better, but then worse in the pool stages. I'm wondering whether we're going to say England play a lot like they did against Argentina, where it's just going to be kick them into the 22, take drop goals, wait for them to give penalties, kick threes. We may not even see a lot of tries from England, and they might just try and punish Fiji and get over the scoreboard. I'm going to lean towards England a bit more for this one. I just feel like they'll try and step up for this game a little bit more than what we've seen in the pool stages. I don't know if by a lot. I think I'm going to say England by 4. But if this game opens up and we get to see attacking play and open, backs charging again, Fiji could take this one by 10. This might be one of the harder ones to call, which is weird. You think about how big the other games are. They're really 50-50, toss of a coin. This one, I don't even know how to sort of calculate how it's going to go. I'll go with my England one for the sake of the video. I might change that, though, for the Super Bowl predictor when we get round to it, because I'll have to think a bit more about it after just seeing these sort of team announcements. But there we have it, guys. Make sure you drop down in the comment section your thoughts on it. This one took a real turn right at the end then, didn't it? Of course, we're on to the quarterfinals now. Over the course of the weekend, if I have the time, I'm going to try and do review videos. I'll see if I can do one for every game. It's not a guarantee ever. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest videos. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.